Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode at the Kickpod dojo, the dojo where inspirational martial arts talk is always, should I say, always going, or should I say, always attacking, always blocking, always kicking. Anything that involves martial arts. All right, so I am your host, your sensei, TJ Williams, give you the insider of my martial arts journey, discussing and analyzing martial arts based subjects, and also highlighting martial artists all around the world, past, present, and future. All right, so really, because winter is almost close to be over. I know a lot of people got hit with that winter blast. Of course, me, I did. And one thing I had to say, a lot of people got their cars stuck, including me, because I let my bad judgment get me stuck because I wanted to get to work. But that's what happens when you get more committed to having a job and go and make some money. But you nevertheless, it's over. I mean, I still got my car, but plan on getting another one. But well, all bad stuff aside, I got a guest with me today. Of course, he has successful YouTube channel, and it's called Happy Life Martial Arts. And of course, or should I say, it's called Sensei Ando. All right, if you could check that out. And of course, he has a successful business going called Happy Life Martial Arts. So I'd like to everybody to introduce to you Ando Mierzwa. All right, so
Howdy, how's it going? Nice to
yeah,
see you, Sensei.
yeah. All right, so can you give the listeners like a small detail of what you do now?
Sure, I
Yeah.
change lives. That's what I do now.
Oh yeah, nice and simple to the point.
Yeah, I martial arts changed my life, and I just try before I die to share what changed me, and hopefully change other people's lives for the better. That's what I'm all about. How's
Definitely.
that?
Yeah,
Small,
definitely.
simple.
Small, simple. Yeah, that's always I like to keep it like I don't want to go into too many details. All right, so this is what we're gonna do, Ando. We're gonna go back to in time, like everything before everything happened with you. We pretty much going to discuss how you got from where you got today. So let's just say we're gonna get to probably back to when you were a kid. Like how would you describe yourself as like before you got into martial arts?
Yeah, overall, I was, I think, very cocky, very confident, um, privileged, and insecure. And all of that's rooted on insecurity. There was no real confidence behind it. Um, if you're that, I was a number one son. I was the oldest in the family, so of course that first person gets cared for and fussed over. And I had some skills and abilities, so that anything I did was encouraged and supported. And therefore, I started letting that take me to the dark side, where everything I did was good and everything I did was great, and anyone else who couldn't do what I did was inferior to me and was somehow worthy of being made fun of or bullied. And yeah, so I was always anxiety ridden to try to be number one and to stay there and to get everybody's love and attention for doing what I could do. But all that comes with insecurity, because you're so afraid that if you make a mistake or you're not the A+ person, that you're gonna be not loved or beat up by the people who don't like A+ people. It was very a stressful time. So yeah, in that way, it was just an out of control. Like it looked from the outside like, wow, he's top of the class. Wow, he's the leading the play. Wow, he's head of the student council. But inside, it's just all stress and anxiety. It's all going to fall apart and be taken away. So yep.
Yeah. Yeah, this one thing I always tell my students, like I say, it's better to humble yourself and be praised after than to
Mm-hmm.
praise yourself and be humbled after. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I would go with that. Yep.
yeah,
Good advice.
it's always best to be humble, even though you get praised a lot, and then you still have to be humble. But you got those certain people that like to praise themselves, saying that he said I'm good at this, I'm the best. But I don't want my students to be like that.
Yeah, well, when you're a kid, it's not my fault, and it's no one's fault. It's
Yeah.
love and encouragement, and um, but at some point that becomes expected. Like, well, then I am great, and if you don't meet with enough loss and failure and coming in last place, if you don't get that experience to balance it out, then you don't learn humility, and you're just trying to cling to being perfect all the time, which is impossible, and that's where the anxiety comes from. So which is what led me to martial arts, which is probably your next question.
Yeah, so definitely, what would be your event that got you interested in martial arts? Like, what's the one thing that you see saying that I want to try this one day?
Yeah, Control. That's what it was. It was Bruce Lee, and to me, it wasn't so much the movies. I always thought the movies were a little silly, but I just thought he, as a person, seemed very in control. He controlled his words. His gestures were very deliberate. He could put his foot up in the air and hold it there. The way he walked, the way he dressed, he seemed to have real confidence, not fake confidence. Like he had something to back it up. He could be his own man. He could do his own thing, and he just seemed to have control. And I thought, well, if he who's like me, he's a skinny guy and he's not like a big like Arnold Schwarzenegger guy, I can relate to that. Um, if he used martial arts to get that kind of control over himself, then I will do martial arts. And that's what got me started. So I went out and found the Bruce Lee training method books. There's like 4 of those. So it was in my mid-teens, and I just did anything I could out of those books. I tried to copy. Always he's jumping rope, always running on the road, always hitting the bag, always doing that stuff, and just started those kinds of exercises to get control of my body at least, which hopefully would lead to emotional control. So that's what started it. Yeah, seeing Bruce Lee.
Yeah, so that was your push into it. It's like this is like Bruce Lee is my push to get me started.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of call that the envy. Like, yeah, Bruce Lee was kind of like my push, or any other movie that I watch. It was like, I need to at least get into karate sooner or later. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for most people, their event would be their push is that they get bullied a lot. And it's like they have to do some sort of self-defense.
Yeah, I don't know statistically what that number would be. I would hope most people are not being bullied, but I think nowadays more people are going to go after fitness. I think more people actually probably coming my way, looking to get in shape, which is a form of getting in control of their body. I think most people don't want to fight. Most people don't want to spar and get punched in the face. That's the part of the martial art that keeps them from not training. And I didn't come in from a self-defense standpoint. Again, I came in more from a emotional standpoint. Like I need to control. I'm out of control. I want real confidence. And that starts here, not trying to get just the grades, trying to be the number one guy in the class all the time. That you're always chasing something. It had to be from within. Like I need to control my breath, my feelings, my voice, my standing my own ground, and then build out from that. So that's what to me is what Bruce Lee represents.
Yeah. And there's another quote I kind of come with, it kind of goes with my video game gimmick. A game is not a game if you don't lose at all. So
It's not a game if you don't lose at all. All right. I'll sign that petition. Yeah.
yeah,
As long as you're learning and getting what you want out of it, the trophies come and go, but who you become in the pursuit of that trophy is the real winning. So if that's what you mean, then I'm on board. Boom.
yeah. All right. So can you like describe your first class? Like, did you join the, like, I know you said you were going through all these Bruce Lee books, but did it get to the point where you had to like join an actual dojo or actual school?
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. The Bruce Lee thing was so no uniforms, no belts. I didn't think I needed to join a school. He looked like he was just in his garage training, so that's what I did. I just put up a bag in the garage, and you got a road. You got a couple of buddies who can come over once in a while and spar. So I figured there was nothing magical that he was doing. It just looked, oh, he's punching and kicking hard. I can do that. That was my thinking. I didn't need a coach for that, so I'll just start punching this bag and kicking this bag and doing lots of road work and a little bit of weights. But eventually I saw Steven Seagal in Above the Law, and he was doing Aikido. And it wasn't just punching and kicking. He was making people flip around, and I couldn't figure out how he was getting people to flip around. So that's what actually made me think, like, oh, there's more to martial arts than just screaming and punching and kicking. There's wrist locks, and there's throws, and there's sword work, and there's other things you could get into. So that's what got me out of my house, out of my garage, to go looking for a school and a teacher. And at the time, I couldn't find an Aikido school. Eventually I did. But the first school that I found that had a weight room. So I said, well, at least I can lift weights. I don't know what this Taekwondo stuff is, but at least I can start with the weights. It was a Taekwondo school. And that's where I started. So my first class, I already kind of thought I knew how to punch and kick. So I felt like I had a head start. But of course, there were so many other lessons to learn just from wearing a uniform and standing up straight and listening to someone else talk and follow orders and get into that military class structure, which I was not used to. And from when you have a big ego and you want to call the shots, and I'm usually the one in charge of my social circle, to have another grown man tell me, shut up, stand up straight. That's not right. And then to spar and then get hit and go, wow, I'm not the best one in this class. It was all very, very humbling. And it was exactly what I needed as a human being at that time. So, because your control in the garage, yeah, I was learning how to control myself, but that was by myself largely. When you get into a class, now you have to learn, can you control yourself with somebody else? Now someone is there to, as a teacher for sure, to push you and challenge you and get in your face and tell you that you're not any good and you got to do this better. And your ego is constantly going, shut up, screw you. Why am I, what, how dare you? Don't you know who I am? So to go through that process was the second phase that I needed to control myself when I'm alone, and now control myself when people are giving me corrections and punching me and I'm losing. So that was a very necessary lesson for me. So yeah, so my first class experiences in general were learning how to lose. That's what that was.
Yeah, so that pretty much goes with my quote that I just said: "A game is not a game if you don't lose at all." So
Yeah, but it takes time to learn that that's not a loss, because in the beginning it just feels like I'm losing. I got punched in the face. I've lost. How can that be? It doesn't make sense with my reality. Or how can you tell me that I'm not doing this right? I am doing it right. How can you tell me that my fist isn't enough rotated or my foot's not in the right spot? I'm trying. Why isn't it working? Why isn't my leg doing what I tell it to do? So it comes back to control. It comes back to ego. It comes back to all these great issues. And yep. But it took me a while to not take that personally and see that you're not losing and you're not a loser, that you're just learning and you're just supposed to make these little discoveries. You're supposed to improve little by little. It's a process. And once you understand that, then it becomes a drug, a healthy drug. You're like, oh, if I just keep coming in and losing, I'll get a little better. Lose, get a little better. Learn, get a little better. Oh, I don't even say lose anymore. I just learn. So now it's just no losing. Yep, exactly. But it takes time. So don't forget that with your students. You can tell them, hey, that's not a loss, but it feels like one, until you know how to redefine it and see the improvement that comes out of it. And then you go, oh, I see. I got punched in the face last week. I learned to keep my hands up. This week I didn't get punched in the face. Now I see it wasn't a loss. It was a lesson. Now we're getting somewhere. So we have to be patient with ourselves to learn that lesson. And if you're a teacher, be patient with your students, because it can take a long time for them to not take the loss personally.
yeah, I mean, you don't expect all your students to train like by themselves. Like once they are taking class, and of course, you don't expect them to train on everything that was taught in class. But you have to always review it time after time to make sure
Sure.
they actually get it. So it's a
Sure.
process.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
sir.
I know you was talking about losses too, but I know I was thinking just one thing to think about is my black belt testing. Of course, I was like passed my first and second degree test without failing, and then of course I got to my third and fourth degree. Well, I mean, we do pre-test first, and of course, you have to pass your pre-test to actually take the actual tests. And of course, for my third and my fourth, of course, I failed my first attempt at my pre-test.
Oh,
Yeah, I
mm,
mean, I was preparing myself for that test, but I guess I said endurance wise, I guess I wasn't prepared. I mean,
mm,
I knew all the materials for the tests, but the endurance was the biggest key for that test. And that's
mm.
probably what killed me, like the first attempt at those tests. But nevertheless, I got through the second time. And of course, here I am, a fourth degree, and I'm retired. I don't have to test physically no more.
What do you mean retired?
I mean, for my next rank, fifth degree, of course, I have an opportunity to perform in front of the grandmaster of my style, and all I'm doing is doing a performance of everything that I've learned, and from there, after the performance, I just go up stage and get my black jacket. That's mastering. So that's pretty much the whole process. And
Are
oh,
you training for that? Is that a goal? Are you training? You said retired, which made it sound like you were training or
well,
doing anything.
let me rephrase that. I'm training. I'm retired from doing physical testing, but I'm not retired from going to more higher ranks. So fifth.
Okay.
So let's just say I'm still learning. Like I'm still taking classes. So I want to at
Okay.
least make sure I know let the testing board, or should I say the board of directors, know that I'm still training and not just pausing. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And that's the Chuck Norris system. What
yeah,
system are you training in?
yeah, the Chuck Norris system, or basically people
Right.
call it like the Tank Sudo, or we used to call it Chunka though, but it was changed to
Yeah.
the Chuck Norris system. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Very good. Okay. Well, cool. Well, good luck on that.
yeah. I'm a year away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a goal, a specific deadline, and all that stuff. You got your cardio going. You're gonna have your endurance. Everything's gonna be okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a fitness instructor, so I'm trapped in fitness. Yeah.
All right. Trapped.
Yeah. All right. So what would you say what your favorite moment is when you're doing martial arts?
Favorite moment. Wow. I love martial arts. So like every class, there's joy in my practice. So it's hard to pick a favorite moment, but really, it's more favorite moments as a teacher. Um, I mean, I look. I'm proud of myself anytime I tie on a white belt. If I go start BJJ, if I go start a Sistema thing, when I've started different styles of kung fu, those are always my favorite moments. It's always because you have to go through that. For me personally, um, where you can, hey, I already have a black belt, but I can put that aside and say, yeah, but I want to learn. When you go into a new style, a new teacher, you tie in a white belt, that proves to the world and to yourself, like you are willing to empty your cup, you are willing to put that aside because your goal is true. I just want to learn. So my favorite moments are when I can get out of that first class and I go, good for you, man. Okay, so you are genuine. You are still trying to learn. It's not about just trying to accrue ranks. But then on the flip side, as a teacher, then my favorite moments, of course, are anytime you see someone on the brink of quitting and having a hard time with it, like I did, and coming back and thriving and staying, even if it's just for a limited time. But they have a tournament injury or they're upset because they lost, they have a meltdown in class, whatever that is. When you see someone broken return and keep going, that to me is, that's what fighting is all about. That's fighting spirit right there. And it could be a 4-year-old, it could be a 40-year-old, I don't care. When you see someone's spirit get crushed and then they come back, that to me is always and if I have a hand in that as a teacher to encourage that or let them feel welcome to come back, then that's my part of it. But yeah, that's always the most joyful moment. I don't care. That's the best.
Yeah, and I know I try to impact a lot of students that that I train. Of course, at least
Mm.
either train with or I train, but you got those sums that you can't even save, even though you try. And
Oh yeah.
of course, you one day you see them in the newspaper, and of course, something bad happens to them. Like
Uh,
that's really devastating to me. It's like I just
yeah.
was really taking the time, at least away from my busy schedule, just to help these people or help these students. And then you see in the paper or hear
Mm.
from somebody that something happened to them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That would be terrible. Yeah, it's the worst. Yep, you're right. Yep, yep. But,
yeah,
but at the same time, you have to forgive yourself because we're all on different journeys. People make their choices, and the best we can do as teachers is just let students know I'll always welcome you back. I'm here. I understand you're having a hard time now, whether it's emotional or your family or just whatever your frustration is, money. Just know that I'm still here. And if you come find me, I will still be here and I'll welcome you back anytime. So at least they know. Then it's their choice if they choose not to. If you leave it as a burned bridge and you kick them out and it's anger and you never heal that, then maybe I feel like, oh, I should have let them know that I would have forgiven them or I could have helped them again. I don't ever want to feel like I'm a closed door to someone who may need what I have. That's all we can do.
hey, can you describe your first black belt test? I mean, how many black belt tests have you actually gone through?
Oh, hadn't thought about it really, but let me go back to the first black belt test. Let's go there. Is yeah, that was in the Taekwondo school that I was part of, and I was about 4 years in. And the odd thing then was I had a separated shoulder, but I was trying to hide that from my teacher. I didn't want them to know because they probably wouldn't let me test. I'd already gone through, the pre-test, so to speak, and pay the money, fill out the forms. It wasn't at our local school. You had to go up to the main school, the grandmaster, the whole that kind of routine. But I'd separated my shoulder. I met my wife to be, and I was showing off, and I was doing some shoulder rolls, and I popped my shoulder.
Mm.
So driving up to the black belt test, my arm was in a sling. I was icing it. I was trying to keep the swelling down. It was killing me. And when I got there, I didn't want my teacher to see that. So in the car, I took off the ice, took off the sling, and just kind of got through. And when I saw some video of it years ago, I'm not even sure if I still have that video. But to me, it's like really clear. Like, wow, you're not using that arm. But I was able to, spar. Just looked like I had my guard up. Did my board breaks with the other hand. Just I got through it. Is the point? Even with the kata, I figured how to kind of roll my body so that the arm would go where it was supposed to go. And then as soon as I finished that test, we went down to the car, ice, sling, and just tried to keep it cool. That was it. But yeah, so for me, the black belt test was kind of a double test because it wasn't just the stress of going up to the main school with all the people and showing off and doing your thing, but it was also I'm hurt and hurting. But if my fighting spirit is strong enough, I should be able to get through this. So for that, it's stupid, but I'm also proud of myself for forcing the issue on that. I'm not recommending that to anybody. If you have an injury, let it heal for God's sake. But I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I felt it's kind of like a nightmare for me because for my second degree test, of course, before the test, I ended up having sciatica. So luckily, I got that taken care of. And then, of course, once I got better, I ended up cracking my ribs training. Like, I think it was like a few days before my test. I mean, it wasn't like a broken rib, but it was cracked. But that's
broken.
Yeah,
cracked is broken.
Yeah, so throughout that whole test, I was like trying my best not to get, especially during sparring, I was trying not to get hit in the ribs. Yeah, so
maybe I'd like to think that it makes us better. If you have that injury, you're treating it more like self-defense because you really are wounded. So you have to be a little more vigilant. You have to be a little more careful with your shots. If you have everything's healthy, you can kind of bounce around, maybe be a little distracted because it's just somewhat easy. But when you have an injury, you really got to dial in your focus. You really got to know what you're doing. You got to pick your choices, make your choices very carefully. So maybe it helps both of us to be injured going in. Again, I don't recommend this. Don't injure yourself on purpose for a test.
Yeah, I bet you have to go through a lot of endurance through the test, right? You just did like all the katas and everything.
Well, that's endurance. How many katas can you do?
Yeah,
it's all endurance. I mean, if you're up there for 3-4 hours, it's endurance. It's a long day, right? And that's not even a lot. I mean, some people do these 2-day, 3-day tests where you run for miles and come back, sleep at the dojo, wake up. I mean, there's some schools that do really extreme tests. So that wasn't exactly mine. No, mine was a little bit shorter than that, but still challenging. So I'm proud of it.
Yeah, definitely. I talk about challenging my fourth degree tests. I mean, of course, here I am, the only person going for fourth degree, and of course, you got other two going for third, and of course, I get the worst of it because that's my final test, physical test, and then of course, you got the testing board, especially the main person calling out the techniques, and then of course, there's add-ons. So here I am doing everything that was required for the test plus add-ons, which you of course you got to be prepared for. I mean, I wasn't prepared for those add-ons, but I was ready. And of course, I just went through it, and of course I was winded. I mean, really, that was giving me a show, but at the same time, I was saying like, of course you're chopping me down, but I'm still going to come at you.
Right on. Yeah, there it is, fighting spirit.
All right. Yeah, I'll tell you what's more interesting, Mike. Driving to the test. I mean, here I am driving from Niagara Falls to Boston from 12 o'clock in the morning to like 7 o'clock a.m. Yeah. So, well, it wasn't just me. It was just me and my master instructor. It was just me and him driving down to Boston. Like we drive down there from 12 a.m. to 7 o'clock. And after the test, we drove back.
Oh my God.
Oof.
So you didn't sleep the night? You didn't sleep?
Well,
you stayed awake during the drive?
Well, I actually slept before the trip. I after work, I kind of I'll get out of work about 4 o'clock, and then I went straight to sleep, and then from there, we just woke up and just drove down to Boston. So definitely that was a 2-way trip. Like it was wonderful.
That's harder than the test. Just staying awake on the road that way. Oh my God, that's hard.
Well, I know we saw a couple accidents around the road, but luckily we didn't get stuck. right? But
You didn't cause them?
oh no. Well, I'm not much of a Jedi, but
Wow, I'm glad you're okay.
yeah. All right. So let's see. Have you competed in any tournaments or go to like conventions?
Not on the tournament circuit. No, that's not my thing. And yeah, I've been to conventions, sure. The Super Show in Las Vegas. I've been to that several times. And Hobnob, seen a lot of the big names up close, personal. So yeah, it's but all that's a little distracting. Not my thing. Are you a competitor? Is that
Yeah, well,
you,
not like I don't compete a lot. I mean, I compete like say I go to my convention every July. Of course, we have our seminars. I love seminars because you've learned
Mhm.
different things. And of course, there's competitions. And of course, yeah, there's a master rank induction ceremony. So
Mm.
that's the one I'm looking forward to because everything else I'm used to. But
Yeah.
that one is just like once next year comes, I want to be prepared to actually give Mr. Norris a good performance. Yeah.
Hmm. Good. Yeah. Good. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. You seem like you take it seriously, so that's good.
Uh, Oh yeah, definitely. I'm on top of everything when it comes to my classes. I want to make sure all my students are okay. Usually if they call in, I always ask them, "Is everything all right? Are you good?"
Mhm.
Yeah, they give me the thumbs up.
Good.
Hey, okay. So what other activities you do outside of martial arts?
Nothing. Nothing. Nope. When I was younger, I mean, I had many, many interests. But as I got older, you realize that time and energy are in limited supply. So if you want to be good at something, you got to start committing to something. So one by one, every other hobby and interest fell away. And it's just martial arts, and that's all I do. But that said, it's not really one thing because there are so many aspects of martial arts, so many different styles, so many different exercises, so many different things to look at that it's already feels like there's too many things to do and you can't do it all. Even still, narrowing it down to one thing isn't enough. So, but yeah, it's martial arts. It's my job and my hobby. It's my full-time thing. Yeah, that's why I'm married to it. This is my wife, and this is martial arts. So it's a 20. That's 24/7.
Yeah, I kind of call that like the movie premiere. Yeah, if somebody gets engaged, I say happy movie trailer, or should I say congrats on your movie trailer, and then when they get married, I say that's a movie premiere.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yep. Hopefully it's got a happy end. Hope it's got a happy ending.
yeah, and yeah. Once it's reached the 10th anniversary, you have those deleted scenes. Like really, people don't
Ah,
that people don't see.
oh God. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't want to. There's a lot of stuff I don't want to look back
yeah. But I do notice, of course, you post all these videos. You of course you do a lot of video editing,
on.
if I understand. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, I don't know if that counts as another interest, but yeah, I like writing and editing the videos and making a podcast like yourself. So I do like, but that to me just falls under the teaching umbrella. So I guess really I have two hobbies. I enjoy learning martial arts and practicing, and I enjoy sharing martial arts and teaching. So those are the two heads. If I was just into it for myself and wasn't interested in teaching, that would be maybe a more focused lifestyle. Um, and if I wanted to just teach, you have to always be a student, so you can't really do that only teaching. So that's kind of like two faces to the same coin there, learning and sharing. But yeah, so editing comes into that, or podcasting, which I love. I enjoy all that stuff. It's just another way to teach, another way to connect with people, get comments, get feedback. It's wonderful. It's been a wonderful way to. When I was younger, this didn't exist. So you go have a school or have a private student or whatever that was. So now to be able to put something out there and see something get 1,000 views or 10,000 or 100,000 views, you just go, wow. If you really love teaching, it's an amazing piece of technology that we have nowadays. So I'm glad you're using it as well.
Yeah, so a good thing I started this off when the pandemic hit, and of course I was laid off of work. Of course I already had my computer before the pandemic, and I was talking to my one friend that did podcasting, and of course he would kind of invited me to be in this podcast group. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I have an
Cool.
opportunity to do this podcast, and
Cool.
and just like you, just like spreading the positivity of martial arts.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? And the
Yeah.
more voices, the better. Just keep that message going. Yeah. We should get everybody in. Everybody should take martial arts. So as many different faces because everyone's different. Everybody wants to see something that they can relate to. Saying that we can say the exact same message, teach the exact same lesson, but your face is different than my face. Some people want to hear it from me. Some people want to hear it from you. Some people want to hear it from a woman or someone older, younger, whatever. So the more people we have out there sharing, the better.
Mm. All right. So out of all the videos that you posted, what would you say your favorite one would be? Like one thing that
Well,
kind of impacts you.
Well, geez, that's like picking your favorite baby. In each one, I wouldn't have made any video if I didn't think it was worth sharing. So I love every video, of course. Um, I guess, I mean, just for the sake of an easy answer, I'll go with the most popular videos, because to have reached that many people, I guess that would be my favorite video, because for some reason, what I thought would be valuable, other people found valuable. I love my lowest viewed video just as much as my highest viewed video. But the fact that that one has, 1 million or 2 million views, you have to go, well, that's my favorite one, because I got to meet that many people through that couple of minutes of video. That's a blessing, and it's a miracle for me. It's like, wow. Because when you make a video or a podcast, you don't know if anyone's ever going to see it. There's no guarantee. You just want it to go out into the world. And I'm happy if a couple of people see it, but when you get like a couple of million, you go, wow. So I think I've got a video, how to take a punch, which mixes a little bit of martial arts with a lot of life lesson. So that one seems to get a lot of responses still to this day. It's been up there for, I don't know, 7-8 years. It's got a lot of views. So I guess I'm going to call that my favorite. People seem to like
There was one video that I watched. You were talking about how people ask questions about McDojos or belt factories. I know you said like we shouldn't like put down those type of dojos, and
right.
that's I can agree with you on that. I mean,
Yeah.
Even though this for some people it's like it's all about making money. You want to make the customers happy, and of course you're not worried about techniques and whatnot, but yet
You could be.
yeah.
It's I mean, there's no reason why someone can't make a living and provide a good service. To me, a McDojo means criminal behavior. If you're defrauding someone, if you're lying about something, then that to me is where, okay, that is a school that should be criticized. But when a lot of people throw that term around, McDojo, they're judging people for the state of their life at that time. So for instance, when I wasn't looking for self-defense. I was looking for control. And I found it in a Taekwondo school. And from an outside perspective, someone could say, well, I'm a fighter and you guys are paying for belt tests, McDojo. You guys wear uniforms, McDojo. You guys have to bow and pretend you're Korean, McDojo. You have to do kata, McDojo. So they have this whole list of criteria that makes you somehow a McDojo, but they don't ask, well, why are you there? And are you getting what you're paying for? And for me, I'm coming out of class crying. I'm having emotional distress trying to figure out how to improve myself, how to make my life better. And just because someone else is at a boxing gym and they just want to learn how to box, it makes no sense for them to judge me for what's important to me. And if I'm getting my money's worth and time's worth. So I just think people should be really careful about judging and style shaming. And because everybody's at a different place in their life. If you've been abused your whole life, like your mom and your dad or someone who's burning you with cigarettes or sexually abusing you, and you're terrified of being touched or trusting people, and your first experience with martial arts is, you know what, there's a Tai Chi class. They don't touch me. I can have my own space, but I can breathe, relax, start to feel confident in my body. If that's your first step into martial arts, then that should be supported, applauded, and encouraged. And if hopefully that the confidence they find from that step maybe leads them to, let's push hands together. Now we can touch each other slowly. Maybe that builds up into more confidence. Why don't we strike each other? Maybe that builds up to let's grapple with each other. And maybe you come to a place where you feel completely comfortable in your body and completely confident to defend yourself. But you can't go around thinking like, well, if you're not doing full contact, day one, full roll and tapping out, you're not doing an MMA style class, it must be a McDojo. It's just stupid. It's insensitive. And I'll speak out against that anytime I can. Yep. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, as I know, I had to think about that because I feel like of course the pace I train with, but I want like everybody to be welcome. depending on like their gender or their like physical ability, even like their, like should say, their limitations. So pretty much I'm gonna put that limitations, I'm kind of
Yeah.
hesitant to saying like mental condition or, but definitely limitation. So it could be like having ADHD, um, autism, Asperger's, or like any type of condition that really prevents them from at least being successful. But I'm
Yeah.
just there. It's like, of course, I had to deal with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I think about it when I was a kid, I was like so hyperactive and I had like anger issues. But nowadays, like martial arts, I'm trying to be less angry about things like that happened to me. I was subject of being bullied, and I just thinking about it, sometimes I get flashbacks, and I had to be by myself and just trying to let it out. But I don't want to let it out in front of everybody else anymore. Just
Mm.
but to show them how I'm a decent person. Yeah.
Mm. Well, good for you. And
Yeah.
martial arts has been an important part of your empowerment and taking back your confidence. Clearly, martial arts has been a tool for that as well, just like for me, it is for you as well. Then, yeah.
Yeah. I think I also saw another video on the back kick. Yeah, I was just watching that. People have trouble with that technique. So I mean, I see that you have to have your back to the target, but if you turn too much, it'll turn to a side kick. So
Yeah,
yeah,
right. Pretty
yeah,
simple. Yeah. When people say spinning back kick, I think that's what screws people up. They think spin, so they feel they have to come all the way around, but then you've ruined the back kick. So it's better just to say turn around back kick. Just turn around and then kick. And
yeah.
forget the spin. And you'll want to spin naturally because you're going to want to see the bad guy eventually. But quick, just turn around, kick, and then you can do whatever you want. So yeah, don't use the word spinning. That would be my tip.
Yeah. Or should I say 180 turn or
Yeah,
half turn
exactly.
back kick?
Half turn back kick. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so that's the thing for our style. We're trying to switch to different terminologies. We're not trying to use terminologies like from a different style. It's like if we have like a, say, from Krav Maga, if they have like a like some type of, like, say they say a front snapping kick and we say something else, we kind of like not confuse our style with that style. So that's pretty much what we're doing when we're a hybrid style. Yeah,
it's inevitable.
yeah,
There's only so many ways to punch and kick or talk about punching and kicking. So we're going to end up using similar terminology. I don't see how that's avoidable.
Hey,
Nobody owns a front kick. Everybody's got a front snap kick. Everybody. So that's why it's always funny. People say, "Oh, this style is better than that style." It's like, "Oh, well, do you punch?" Yes. Well, so do we. Do you guys kick? Yes. Well, so do we. So you may not like the training methodology, but the techniques are largely similar.
yeah.
So that's a silly criticism.
Yeah, that's the thing about me. If I go to a tournament and then I see people doing katas that I learned, but they look differently, it's like that kind of looks at. And then of course I have to talk to that person and say, what's his name, that kata? And it's like it's interesting. It's like there's so many different katas that are
Yeah.
similar to what I learned.
Yeah. With the Tang Soo Do, yeah. I mean, it's got roots in other systems, and yeah, there's a lot of crossover there between, well, like Taekwondo's got several different versions of Taekwondo. So depending on which era you're looking at, the forms are very similar to the Shotokan, and those are similar to the Shorin Ryu. And everyone's got pieces that are overlapping. So, which again is the point that we should not be style shaming because we all have more in common than what we have different as human beings, as martial artists, the whole ball of wax. There's always more in common like with us and chimpanzees having almost the same DNA. It's like there's more in common. What makes us different does make us different. There are differences to be appreciated and celebrated. But if that becomes a problem where it's leading to hate and nastiness and judgments and shaming, well, then you got to back up and say, whoa, we're mostly the same. So I think martial artists really need to always remember that because it's not about Tang Soo Do versus Taekwondo. It's people who study martial arts versus people who don't study martial arts. That's the war that I'm trying to fight. Like, I want to bring everybody over to train. And if they hear me bad mouthing those people and bad mouthing those people, then they get confused. Like, well, what style is the best? And where should I be training? They shouldn't even think that. They should just think, hey, I want to do martial arts. Great. Find a school right next to you. Do you like it? Go there. Start there. You don't have to stay there, but start there. Just get started. I don't want to make this hard. I'm not sure. I heard that style sucks. I heard this stuff. Just go start. It doesn't matter. Just go.
Yeah, and I know there's probably like certain karate studios like they kind of keep you prisoner. Like, they say don't go to another karate studio and then not learn. But I don't want to be that person to like say, like, I'm not a fan of contracts. So I don't want to be put in a position where I had to be told not to go anyplace else and learn. And then of course I say that this our style, not this school is not good for me. So I
Hmm.
would, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a stickier issue there. I mean, in my day, which was already not as bad as the old days, you definitely did not go out cross training. That wasn't as popular. It was in the old days. Lots of kung fu guys trained with each other. Lots of karate guys trained with each other. But once it become commercialized or mainstreamed, where it's Shotokan now, then there was this next wave of teachers where it's like, don't go anywhere else. You can only learn it my way. It's an insult to us if you train with them. Or it could be a situation like where Korea and Japan historically had some problems with each other. So if you're studying Taekwondo and then you tell me you're going to go study a Japanese style, the Korean headmaster might take that really personally that you're going to a Japanese stylist. So, the waters can get muddied, but nowadays, I think one of the nice things about MMA is that it kind of shows everyone that it's probably for everybody's benefit to look at what each other are doing and try a little bit. Everyone should be doing a little BJJ. Everyone can go do a little stick fighting. Everyone can go do a little Taekwondo. Everyone can go do a little whatever. Everyone has something to offer into the pot. And then it's up to you, back to Bruce Lee, just to kind of figure out what works for you. I don't need someone to tell me that it's right or wrong. Just for me, what do I need at this point in my life? Which is why I've changed styles more than once, because it's very, you seem to be blessed that you found a style that met your needs at the beginning and still meets your needs, or still is helping you reach your goals. Whereas when I was in Taekwondo, found out that, what, now my goals changed. Thank you to Taekwondo for helping me get over this part of my life. But now I need a different challenge. Now that you've helped me, I need to go to a different place to get this next piece. And so on and so on. And now I'm older, and same things. Like, okay, well, that took me so far, but now my body is changing, my temperament's changing. So I need to find different information to help me get to this next phase. So there's always something that you may have made fun of in your 20s, but when you're 60, you go, that's exactly what I need now. So I'm glad I wasn't making fun of anything when I was 20, because Tai Chi might have a lot to offer me nowadays. I didn't think it did when I was 20. It might have, but I didn't see it. Now I do.
Hey, so what motivational or inspiring quote would you best describe your journey?
Just keep fighting. Keep fighting. It sounds really hacky, but you got to show up. That's another way to say it. I get emails all the time from people who say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a martial artist. I haven't trained in 20 years, but I want to get back into it." And you're like, "Well, good. I'm glad you're coming back, but there's always a way to train. There's always a way to train. I don't want to hear you don't have time, you don't have money, your school closed, your teacher died, you have an injury. That's the list of excuses. Pretty much everybody has one of those if they're not training, and they're all invalid. Every single one of them is invalid. That's just the way it is. If you're genuinely looking to improve as a martial artist, you can literally stand up and stand still and do some visualization if that's all you can do. You can lay in your bed and visualize techniques if that's all you can do. And I'll bet you can do a lot more than that. If you throw 5 minutes worth of punches and kicks, if that's all you can do, well, then do that. If you have a bad leg and you can sit in a chair and throw some punches, you can do that. There's always something you can do. So the best advice that represents me is I just keep training. I'm not the greatest person in the world, but I keep showing up. I keep signing up for things. I keep chipping away at something. And that's how you get work. That's how you get done. Get it done. That's the winning. That's it. Kung Fu, if you just take it down to the most basic level, the words Kung Fu mean effort and time. So you got to show up. That's the effort. And you got to just keep doing it for over and over and over and over. Yeah, some days you feel like crap. Some days you don't want to. Some days you have an injury. Some days you're sick. But you're there. You show up. And just magically, little pieces start sticking to you. Even if you just sit and watch a class. I don't understand when people say, well, I can't go to class because I have this injury. It's like, well, then go watch class. You're still going to hear advice. You're still going to see the art from a different perspective. You're still going to be able to visualize yourself doing things. That's progress. There's always something you can do. So best advice, keep fighting, show up.
Yeah, there's always something to do. I mean,
Always.
well, when there's a will, there's a way. Yeah.
Yes. Amen.
All right. All right. So now we're at the hidden dojo part of our interview. So this with hidden dojo. So this is going to be a
Right.
series of questions I ask, and of course you answer them in the best of your ability. So of course the first question would be the best piece of advice you ever gotten. Who said it?
Every class I get good advice, so that's really a hard question. But I remember early on, because I think the early ones are the most memorable. The teacher, I was frustrated, complaining maybe about the Taekwondo a little bit. And my teacher, a teacher outside of Taekwondo told me, he said, look, this isn't learning how to spray paint cars. This is serious. If you're not getting the information you need, then go someplace else. That's what he told me. And I thought that was pretty cool, because what it did was it forced me to reevaluate, why am I doing this? Because in his mind, he's like, look, this isn't spray painting cars, it's serious. So if I'm not getting the information that I need, so that was a challenge to be like, well, am I getting the information I need? I will only know that if I know what I wanted when I signed up. In the beginning, I just wanted the control. Now that I was gaining control, my goals start to change. Like, well, now what do I want? Well, now I want to be good at this. I don't want to just control me. I got to control a bad guy. Am I getting the information I need to really get my hands on someone and control them? Right now, maybe I'm not. So I need, he said it, then you got to go someplace else. This isn't the only place. And so that's what I was just saying about why you might change a style. It's nothing against the style that you're in that got you this far. But if your goal is now something different, which is very likely, then you may have to go someplace else to get that. And that's okay. There's no shame in that. So follow your goals and your needs. Don't just follow ranks because you're there. I'm just too lazy to look anyplace else or whatever. It's got to start with your desire to learn or change, and then figure out, am I learning and changing where I am? If you're not, try someplace else. That's all.
Right? And it brings me to my next question: the worst advice you ever gotten?
Worst advice, boy, that's I don't think I've gotten much bad. People are pretty good. I think the worst advice, not so much words, but culture, was just back when I was younger, concussions were not a thing. No one ever said the word concussion to me. So we were taking punches and kicks and slammed on the ground, and you were just expected to keep going. It was always get back on the horse, get back on the horse. So like I just said, there's always a way to train even when you're injured. But if you have a brain injury, if you get rocked in the head during class, that's a stop. So the worst advice would be just that the culture used to be keep going, even if you got your bell rung. And nowadays, more people are careful about concussions, whether it's in football or boxing or anywhere. So I hope that has trickled down to every dojo and every teacher. Actually, I just got an email 2 days ago from someone who said that their kid was in class. They got smacked in the head. The teacher put him back in. The kid was crying. Kid was having a bad experience. And I couldn't believe that in this day and age, a young student could get their bell rung, be dizzy, and then be put right back into sparring to get back on that horse and still go, and then get hit again. Now you have secondary impact syndrome. So now you're actually causing some brain damage, more brain damage. I can't believe in this day and age that people still have to be reminded to take care of the brain, particularly of kids who we should be looking out for. So the worst advice would be allowing the spirit of, hey, get back in there to affect brain injuries. That's not okay. If you're a teacher and a student gets their bell rung, that's it for them for the day. They're done. That's it. Sit them down. They can come back another time. Have them see a doctor if you need to. But if, for God's sake, don't let them keep getting repeated head trauma. That's not okay.
Yeah, I always tell my students when we're sparring, like light sparring. I mean, mostly we do point sparring. I mean, I don't need them to go crazy. It's like I usually always explain like the spots they need to hit. But yet, you got some of those students that, they're so excited to spar that they can't control their technique. And,
Sure.
And that's like
It's always about control. Control yourself, and then control yourself with someone else. When you're sparring, it gets competitive, the ego comes up, it can feel very personal. but that's exactly what martial arts does so well, is it gives you a chance to control yourself even when the other person's a little wild, a little out of control. If I can control them and control me under that pressure, then that's winning. That's black belt to me. That's like, cool. This is a new white belt. They're afraid, they're out of control, they're crazy, whatever it is. I need to have the experience to be able to breathe, see, understand, and manage it so that I'm not getting hurt and they're not getting hurt. And I can show them hopefully the folly of their ways to say, see how that doesn't work? See how you're out of control right now? See how I can take advantage of that? So let's get to another place where you can control yourself. To me, it always comes down to control.
All right. How would you reward yourself?
Oh, pie. That's pie.
Oh yeah. I think I've seen that on your profile. That's your guilty
That's not
pleasure.
a secret.
So that's your guilty pleasure.
I'm not guilty. I deserve it.
Yeah, usually that's usually what I call it, like the guilty pleasure. People are like on a healthy diet, and then sometimes they like slip a pie or either slice of pizza or ice cream. So yeah.
Pie. Well, I like to feel I always earned it. Like, actually, I was at class this morning and someone brought cookies. I would take a bite of the cookie and I would do 10 push-ups, take a bite of the cookie, do 10 push-ups. So as long as you're earning it, I shouldn't feel guilty. I earned it.
Yeah.
So bring on the pie.
All right. What movie would you want to be in? Like if you was in a movie, what type of, or should I say genre would you want to be in?
I was in Hollywood for several years. That was one of my youthful pursuits that I've now cut out. So I've actually, you can see my face in a couple famous movies, but I would really love to be thrown through a glass window by Jackie Chan or someone like that, because Jackie Chan was a stuntman in Bruce Lee films, and then he became Jackie Chan. But it's so cool to see him just being the extra or the stuntman with Bruce Lee. So I just think it'd be really cool to then be another link in that chain and say like, oh, here's me getting beat up by Jackie Chan. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, of course I had the opportunity to be in a movie, a local movie in Buffalo. Of course, yeah, I understand you are from Buffalo too.
I am from Buffalo. No secret there. Yes, sir. Yeah, good for
Yeah.
you. Did you enjoy your stay in Buffalo? Did you have a good experience?
Oh yeah, let's just say I'd gone to college there. I mean, I know, yeah. Of course, it's easy for me because it's only 25 miles away. As either I drive, or even if I wanted to, I probably ride my bike. But
okay, yeah, well, not in the winter, but yeah, good for you.
Oh no, not in the winter. I rather wait till it's hot. That's where I get my energy.
Yeah, they'll get your endurance up. Yeah, good. Over the bridge.
All right, secret talent.
Secret talent. Am I good at? Everything's falling apart nowadays. I think, secret. That's difficult. I don't know. I'm gonna go with just. I think what people don't know how hard I work at is trying to keep things simple. My talent, I think, is because for my own brain, I can get overwhelmed. Martial arts can be very complex. You work with some really high level people, and it just seems like, oh my God, what are you doing? I don't know I don't understand. And so to have the patience to see what they're doing, try to get it inside of me, and then break it down into a progression or into concepts that I can help other people. That's the talent that I'm developing. I think I'm good at it because I have to do it for myself, which is where my videos come in. That's the result. But sometimes it looks too easy. Like, oh, you just made a video. It's like, well, no, but that took me years to figure out how to explain it that way, or how to make a little joke out of something to make it easy to understand. But I would like to think, that's what I want to think, that my talent is making complex things or something in martial arts that seems magical, to break it down to something very simple and very relatable so that anyone can start trying to get that skill. So I'm going to say organization and clarity, simplicity, despite that complex answer.
Yeah, I can say my secret talent is I can do different voices. Yeah. All right.
What? Okay, now you gotta do.
Yeah, so here's a little preview. If you understand his voice, I find your lack of faith disturbing.
I think I recognize that one. Absolutely. Darth Vader. Excellent. All right.
Or marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
Uh-oh. This one might be politically correct. What are you doing there? Who's
Yes.
that?
You watched The Princess Bride, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I saw that. Oh wow. Yeah, Okay, cool. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's that. I gotta rewatch that one. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, just by surprise when they eventually get married, and then of course that gets interrupted.
Mm,
Yeah, so
yeah,
you'll
that's a great movie. I gotta get back.
ah, okay. Dream celebrity encounter.
Uh, that's a tough one. I've met many celebrities, so I'm kind of over it. But at this point, I just like meeting good people, good teachers. Yeah, but I understand the question. Geez, I can't. I'm sorry, I'm totally ill prepared for that one. Who do I want to meet nowadays? You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll just take. Give me anybody who's like an Olympian. Give me like whoever. Right now, the Olympics are going on, the Winter Olympics, and I'm always so inspired by because they show up, they do their jobs under pressure. To me, these are who am I thinking of right now? Chloe Kim and snowboarding, or Nathan Chen and ice skating, or even Michaela Schifrin. These are people who perform at the highest levels. So just to have a conversation with any of those sports celebrities who have to use their body under pressure, not just when no one's watching, they can do amazing things, but ready, the whole world is watching, go, and they can still focus somehow. I would love to have lunch with one of those Olympians just to kind of see if there's something I'm missing or how they approach that kind of that challenge. It's very impressive, especially because some of them are so young. You see someone who's like 15 or 16 with all that extra pressure of being a teenager and just trying to figure out who you are in life and have that kind of a grueling training schedule and those cameras and national flags and pressure from everywhere, cameras, go. And you just have to shut everything down and focus, which is what you should do when you're fighting. I think I could learn something from anyone who's participating in the Olympics at a high level, I think. Anyway.
I say probably my best way to either meet somebody. I go to Comic Cons, of course. Yeah, of course it's gonna be tough getting over to Canada because of the COVID restrictions, but hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but Comic Cons, I got to meet a lot of famous people, and even if I go to Vegas, I get to meet famous people. It seemed like the famous people get drawn to me, and I get to meet them.
Because you look like a celebrity. You got a lot of charisma. You got sparkle in your eye. People think, oh, that's got to be somebody. Who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I always do cosplay, so that usually helps.
Okay. So who would you like to meet then? Who's your celebrity goal at this point?
Let's just say somebody I didn't meet in the wrestling business. I met a lot of great wrestlers. I met my idol, but back when I was like 5 years old, Hulk Hogan. I mean,
Ah,
yeah. I really
okay.
looked up to him. Like when I was a kid, I used to dress up as him as Halloween, and
Oh, wow.
back in 2018, he came to Buffalo for a Comic Con, and that luckily a friend of mine kind of messaged me and told me like ahead of time, and I was like, I need to meet him. So that was my greatest opportunity right there. So
And did
actually,
you got to meet him?
yeah, I actually got a picture with him. So
Oh, that's
that's
great.
it. Yeah, I
Was
didn't
he
get
nice to you? Was it a good exchange? Were you happy with it?
well, I didn't get to talk to him. I just went to the photo op. You're only
Yeah,
in there
yeah.
for a couple seconds, and then of course, yeah, I shook his hand, and then of course we took a picture, and that's what. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Good for you. That's great. He's
All
a big
right.
fella.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't put no late drops on me.
Yeah. I stood next to him once as well. He's a big fella.
All right. Last question. 10 years from now.
Mm, I'll be dead.
Mm,
We'll
uh,
see how it goes. Yeah. 10 years from now, I hope I would love to be invited to a like one of these grandmaster conventions to see someone else's test. I would love to be, uh, just included in something. I think that'd be really nice to have built up enough of a reputation in the martial arts world where people would say, "Oh, it would be great. Right? We invite you to come to this tournament to watch what's going on, or come over to this convention we're having. Just be cool to have you there and offer something, teach something. We like what you offer online." Yeah, I mean, the only reason you make these videos and podcasts is to connect with people. So 10 years from now, I hope I've built up enough faith and goodwill with people that they would think of me to include me in their, oh, we'd love to come have you do a seminar, or come just be at this belt test, or can you come, and when you're in town, come by and say hello. Just to be invited any place under this umbrella of martial arts, just to have a chance to connect people in person. Online is cool, but in person is where it's at. So I would love to keep building goodwill to earn that invitation to some event.
Yeah. So basically, my goal with this podcast, at least try to connect with every martial artist that's in the United States or in the world. Right. So
Mm,
that'd be, I mean, that's
yeah, that's a big
I mean,
goal. Yeah.
I pretty much found out about you because of my previous episode with Andrea Harkins. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah.
She's a wonderful spirit to have out there fighting the good fight for martial arts. Yeah, she's full of positivity. I've met her in person and I've known her for a long time. And yeah, she's the real deal. She's got a big heart.
Yeah. So that'd be my goal to actually meet her one day. So
Okay.
it's gonna be happening eventually.
I
Yeah.
hope so. That would be great.
All right. So before we kind of close this podcast up, is there any last things, last word would you like to say to the listeners out there?
If anyone's still listening, I hope that you're training. I hope you're not making excuses. I hope you're showing up somewhere, even if it's just standing up in your own bedroom to do a couple of minutes of meditation or using your words or just looking in the mirror, just your posture, shuffling around your kitchen a little bit. I believe even a little martial arts makes life a whole lot better. That's one of my taglines, and I really believe it. So no matter what you're doing, even if you're in a hospital bed right now watching this, do something. Pick up your hands, pretend you're fighting someone off of your back. There's no wasted time practice. So keep going.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining me at the Kickpod. So I
My
hope
pleasure,
everything,
sir. Thank you.
hope everything goes well with you in the future, and hopefully
Yes, sir.
we'll see you down the road. And
That'll be
of course,
great.
and of course, the same vice versa for me.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you,
so
Sensei. Yeah, I hope everything goes well. You're doing good, positive work. So thank you very much.
I'm gonna do my little closing to my podcast. For those who are tuning in, make sure you tune into my previous episodes on the bicbpradio.com, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And I'll see you next time for another episode here at the Kickpod Dojo. This is your sensei, TJ Williams, bowing you out.